The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.
Welcome back to the K4Wins. Kai Gregory, handicapping for over 4 decades. Tony Curry worked at ESPN Sports Radio for over 30 years. And right below me is the chief editor of the Las Vegas Sun, Case Keeper, back off a fresh and 2-week vacation he's had with a 10-month-old and a 5-year-old. But you're back, baby. So let's do some work. First of all, we had an amazing last week. Kai and I were talking about it on Tuesday. It is worth going over again because a lot of people are calling me up going, dude, seriously, I don't do the numbers. Kai does the numbers. He's been up aboard on everything. But it was a pretty amazing week last week. Go over it one more time, please.
Yeah, and everything's there. You can see all the picks and everything. If you go there, all the picks are recorded and showing. But, yeah, I mean, it's a great week. I would caution people not to expect that every week or maybe even ever again. It's the best week we ever had. Yeah, 24-2 in a week, 92%. I mean, Case will tell you that does not happen. We hit a nice run and got on the correct teams, and every bounce went our way. It seems like in every game also, which does not happen a lot. So 24-2 last week. This week we're getting back to reality, 7-3-2, so 70% when you put the pushes. Last month we were 91-38, which is right at that 70%. A good month. Year to date, 65%, 225, 122.
Fantastic. Let's go straight to some bubble talk. Last Tuesday when we did this show, the Auburn Tigers were in and the Miami Redhawks were in. Bruce Pearl on TNT came out and said, listen, this is a travesty. It's not who deserves to get in. We're looking for the 68 best teams, right? Not deserving to get in, the best teams, which would mean the Auburn Tigers should get in over the Miami Redhawks. He said that they will have to get an automatic bid through winning the MAC to get in because they were not deserving of an at-large. Joe Lunardi has it a little differently. He has Auburn not even one of the first four out. He has them out, period, now with the Miami Redhawks sitting in that 11 seed, and they were exactly they've been the entire year. They have not moved off that 11 seed. Case Kiefer, what's your thoughts on a Miami Redhawks team? They got 2 games left. Let's say they run the table. They're 30-0. They have an interesting game tonight against the Bobcats of Ohio. They're only giving up 5.5 on the road. This could be that one they trip up on. And by the way, people are like, well, I think they need to lose a game to put that threat of losing. No, they don't. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Teams that are on teams that win games, it doesn't make it any easier to lose that game to get that off the schneid. They want to go undefeated, and they're going to do everything they can to possibly do that. But if they don't win the MAC, do they get an at-large? And what's your thoughts?
I think they probably sneak in for one of the last teams. I mean, I'm not by any means a bracketology expert. I'm sure I'm wrong on a lot of these things.
Well, real quick, what would the line be on an Auburn-Miami of Ohio line on neutral site?
Yeah, see, and this is where it's tough for me because I do get it, and I'm a guy that's always going to scream about the numbers. But I just think at the end of the day, there has to be something about what you've done. The team's undefeated. They haven't lost to anyone. It's become so hard to schedule non-conference. I'm sure they'd love to play the likes of Auburn, and no one wants to play these schools anymore. This is a big tournament. We should have the teams that accomplish enough to get in. All that being said, I preface it, of course, to say, would Auburn be favored on a neutral against Miami, Ohio? Like, absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't be huge. I haven't made numbers in a little bit. You alluded to I was on vacation. I've kind of been away from everything for 2 weeks. But off the top of my head, I would think Auburn's probably 3-point favorite against Miami of Ohio on a neutral. I think they'd at least be a possession, but
that's exactly where we put it on Tuesday. Ken and I thought it'd be about 3, and I just remember there was a Manhattan team. I bring this as an example from 10 or 11 years ago. They were like 33-4 or 34-3 or something and didn't get in. And maybe if we expand that, I'll give these teams an opportunity. I think the fans obviously want to see them in. But you brought up a great point, and I wanted to bring this up. I talked to Mark Ingram yesterday with the UAB Blazers. The Blazers have had an issue their entire lives about getting teams to play with them. They've got a deal with West Virginia. They did. They had a home and home, but West Virginia would not play them at Bartow. It had to be at the BJCC, and so they did, which cost them money. And that was because of the relationship that Bobby Huggins had with Andy Kennedy. And then, of course, the AD and coach at South Carolina, they have a home and home with South Carolina because they also had that relationship. But someone posted on the Red Hawks Twitter account, the X account the other day, here are a list of teams we've been trying to play and they will not play us. And the big issue is they will not do it home and home. They'll have them come to their place and they'll play them. But a team like UAB or Miami, they obviously want that home at home. And you may end up having to play more neutral site games. The crazy thing about this, and I brought this up, Miami has played 4 more true road games this year than Auburn's even played. And of course, they've won every one of those games. So you can make an argument if you're looking at true road games and looking at that road atmosphere, that environment, that certainly would play into something. With that being said, 5.5 tonight. They're just getting by the grit of their teeth. They're continuing to win. They're 30-0. Do they go 31-0 after tonight?
It's been interesting for me on Miami because at the beginning of the year, they've had a lot of these weird night games like Monday and Friday. I'm not going to say I'm handicapping the MAC on an everyday basis, although I do think, sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. I think the MAC is an interesting part of this. You mentioned Manhattan. I don't really remember that team, but what's Manhattan in? They're in like the MAAC, I think, which is like perennially one of the absolute worst, like bottom 3-4 conferences. So even if they're undefeated, I feel like the MAC still got to get a little bit more credit. I just looked at KenPom. I think there's this ranked the 17th best conference by his metrics. That's like right around average, a little bit below average. Like going undefeated in the MAC to me, I think should get you in. And I'd understand if it was someone like Manhattan, who literally, I mean, their conference is just a whole nother tier below. But now I got off track. Tonight. So I was betting against Miami of Ohio a lot, I'd say in like December, January, just because they had games on weird nights where I had time to look at it and I was making their numbers a little bit shorter than they were. And man, I had some terrible, I think it was the first Ohio, man, I can't remember who it was. Maybe Ohio took them into overtime at Ohio and ended up not covering in overtime. That was a killer. And then it actually flipped right before I left, took these 2 weeks off. I was actually betting on Miami of Ohio a lot. I felt like maybe too much action was coming in against them. So where does it leave us now? I'm not sure. I mean, a road game with all this attention, a rivalry game, pushing 2 possessions. I'm not going to be betting it. My gut right away was I might take the points with Ohio tonight. But again, I haven't run my numbers for this tonight's slate, and I bet on Miami of Ohio I think like 3 times in the last 3 weeks that I had been betting leading up to this, and not a strong opinion, but it's tough to finish off that regular season. If I remember right, I think Ohio took them to the brink before, and I think they could again here.
That is the lowest spread they've had in quite some time. Kai shaking his head up there. What's your thoughts on the Miami game later on tonight?
I was just going to say Miami beat them at home by 16 when they played earlier in the year, 90-74.
Okay, it must have been the Kent. I'm looking up the schedule now. January 20th. It must be the Kent State game I'm talking about. I think I think they covered in overtime at Kent State. That's what I'm thinking of. My bad.
Tony and I, we talked about it on the show that day when Miami, Ohio didn't cover. Miami of Ohio has not been excellent on the road, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks. But this is a huge rivalry game, like you said. We're at about 2.5 possessions. If it's 5.5. It gets to 6.5. You go to three possessions at 6.5, 3-possession game, and that's a huge number. Where if you are on the underdog, you want to wait, in my opinion, and see if it gets to 6.5 to take that. And if you're Miami of Ohio, the time to jump on them, might be now, sitting at 5.5 because you're under, a key number, in my opinion. I think Miami of Ohio has they have to be firing on all cylinders, if you will, or ready to go on all cylinders, knowing that everybody in the world seems to be against them and not want them in the tournament and want them to lose the game and get out. But I wonder, in this day and age, if you will, if things are fixed in this situation to make sure that said conference gets their bid in and gets them as high, and maybe they do go and roll in this game.
Well, if you remember, if in fact they would get an at-large bid, they would be an at-large bid stealer, which means they'd be stealing an at-large bid from someone like, say, New Mexico or maybe a VCU or one of these other at-large bids. You remember last year there was no bid stealer, and North Carolina got in despite a 1-12 record against Quadrant One teams. They were 1-12 against Quadrant One teams, and North Carolina gets in, which I'm not saying is not best. I'm rooting for Miami, not just because I'm from that area of the country.
That was ridiculous last year for North Carolina to get in with that record. Nobody without the name North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, or maybe Arizona and Kansas get in with that record either.
Yeah. Right now, 10 teams in the SEC. We're in SEC land, so we're going to go around the board here, and then we'll look at some games. The Miami-Ohio game, really the most interesting game for Friday night, but just a whole host of great games, including Duke, North Carolina. Duke, of course, is hosting that game. Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl of basketball. We'll get into those games in just a few minutes. Let's go through Alabama 4, Arkansas 5, Kentucky and Vandy 6s, Missouri a 10, Georgia an 8, Tennessee a 5, Texas an 11, A&M a 10, and Florida a 2. Case, any shot that Florida has a chance to knock off Duke, Michigan, UConn, or Arizona for a 1 seed if they win out the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I would think they should have a chance. I don't, again, bracketology wise, not my strength, so I don't know. But like, if we were drafting teams right now to win the national title, for me, it's Duke or Michigan. It's the clear top pick. I think you probably make cases either way. I think I don't know. That's not the exercise here, but I'd be picking one of them. Then I think you can't really deny what Arizona has done. I'd be taking Arizona third. And honestly, if it's just me, Florida would be fourth on my big board. I've underestimated UConn before, so maybe making that same mistake here. But I really think the Big East isn't. I think it's relatively down this year, and
big time.
I think Florida is superior to you. I would easily have Florida the fourth best team. So if I have them the fourth best team, clearly I would put them in the 1 seed line. And to me, they should have a shot at that. I know with the resume and how bad of a start they got off to, they probably need. UConn to stumble in the tournament and then win it. But as far as I'm concerned, they should be a 1 seed, and I think there's like a clear top tier, and I think the Gators are in it.
Yeah, St. John's and Villanova, who's taking on my Xavier Muskies tonight at Villanova. They're going to get bludgeoned. My Xavier Musketeers are 2 games under 500. And then, of course, you got UConn. Only 3 teams at the Big East when we're normally getting 8, 9, 10, even 11 teams in the Big East in this year. Nothing but 3, which would be really ironic if UConn somehow could roll the dice and win the whole thing. Michigan, the number 1 overall seed for a while until we realized just how good Duke's defense is. Kai, can Duke's defense be enough to get them to a national title?
Can be, yeah. I mean, their defense is very, very legit. We went over the KenPom rankings and adjusted rankings Tuesday in here with offense and defense and where Duke was. But, I will say I 100% agree with Case. I think Florida's resume, actually, if you look at game by game, especially starting, middle December, you go January and February, and the metrics allegedly the committee looks at, I think Florida's playing much better than UConn right now. I think they've played much better this entire year of 26. I would definitely have them as a 4, the 4th number 1 already, and have them ahead of UConn. And looking at the schedule, Florida goes to Kentucky this weekend, the SEC tournament. They're locked in at the 1 seed, so they should be in the semifinals of the SEC tournament, with 1 victory, because they're, with the way everything goes right now, you're going to have South Carolina, Vandy, the winner of that play Missouri, the winner of that get to Florida. And I don't think they struggle with any of those 3 teams, although those could change.
All right. Yeah, let's stick with the SEC. Auburn, Alabama. Obviously, this game means more to Auburn than it does to Alabama, although people in this part of the country would say, no, it always means something. But let's face it, Alabama's in. The Auburn Tigers, if they would get a victory on the road at Coleman Coliseum, it would absolutely be a monster for Stephen Pearl's squad, particularly since dear old dad has a thought process on who he thinks should make it in as an at-large bid. That should just tell you how rough the SEC is. The fact that Auburn's only 2 or 3 games over 500 pretty much the whole season, but they've been in, and as of right now, the latest projections, they're out. What is the line? I don't see a line on that. I was trying to pull up an early line. Sometimes those lines are up early. Auburn, Alabama, tomorrow morning. What is that line in this game? Do you know what you know?
I see only DraftKings, the only place that has it up, and these are usually pretty soft because you can't bet much money there. But right now, Alabama -8.5.
Okay.
Hammer.
About right. You think Alabama's minus the 8.5? Yeah.
Hammer.
I would think it's about right. I'm assuming you mean Hammer, the Crimson Tide side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion personally. It seems about right.
It almost feels like since the Bediako thing is, I mean, and I think it's still going, but it seems like once he was off the team for good, it seemed like this team kind of settled into itself and they started rolling off this 7 or 8 winning streak. And the guys know who's on the team, who's going to play. And maybe that was Nate Oates' whole thought process. Maybe someone brought that up the other day on some sports show. Maybe he's been fighting for Bediako to put a fire under the rest of these guys on this team, because all of a sudden when Bediako was going through this process, you notice how their defense started playing better? I don't know about you, but their defense, their record, their defense of the last 10 games is almost 9 points better than it was earlier in the season. And you can't tell me, maybe they're starting to play some better defense since they knew they were going to lose a position. I think that was a really interesting take. Your thoughts?
Their defense looked like shit at Georgia. That's
it did. Sure. Yeah, true.
Yeah, maybe so. I think that's a reach for whoever called in or said that or wherever it was. I don't think Nate Oates
could have been a Bammer. Could have been a Bammer.
I'm sure it was. I was shocked when you didn't say it was legend, but who knows? I just don't like the way Auburn is playing, and Alabama is on a different level, especially offensively at home. I agree. I think they've played better defense, taking out the Arkansas game at home and the Georgia game on the road. I think they have played better defense, but at home, their 3-point shooting, I would lay this with Alabama, probably, believe it or not, all the way up to 14 or 15, because I just don't think Auburn is there. Alabama is pretty much locked into the 2 seed because, they do have the tiebreaker against Arkansas, who plays at Missouri. So I think this game means as much to Alabama as it does to Auburn, and kind of go from there.
Your thoughts, Case? Does it?
Yeah, I don't know if I fully buy the defensive improvement. I mean, and clearly they did something right. They'd won a ton in a row going into that Georgia game, but I don't know. This is just an Alabama team I haven't really liked this year a ton. I mean, I can tell you, right, I don't know what their draw is going to be, but I would not be surprised at all if there's someone that I'm targeting for a big upset when filling out the bracket, or at least not getting to the Sweet 16. I just think their profile screams a team that, I mean, obviously they're going to have a lot of variance. They shoot, I think they shoot the highest percent of 3-point shots of any major conference team in college basketball history. So it's just like make miss. It's the whole make miss thing to like a whole nother level with them. If they're hitting, they can blow anyone out, but they also just have the I don't know. I think they have the shortcomings elsewhere where they can lose to anyone. They're a tough team to evaluate. Both Alabama and Auburn, I just feel like I've been betting against quite a bit this year, which is rare for me. I've been on Alabama since Nate Oates arrived. I feel like I've been a big Alabama guy year after year. I've had a lot of futures on them. I just don't love this team. I think offense, and then in crunch time, I feel like they have one guy they kind of have to lean on. I kind of talked myself out of both sides here. 8.5 is just a little bit too high for me to lay, but I'd agree on first reaction. Like Kai said, are you telling me, do I think Auburn has a very good shot to win this game? No, but I just I wouldn't want to lay that high of a price either.
K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. It's updated throughout the day. Check it out 24 hours a day. When Houston lost back-to-back games 2 weeks ago, of course, they did the top 7 individuals. It was a really rough stretch. And of course, we said in that 4th game, Houston's going to get home and they were going to blow the hell out of somebody. And they did by 32, I think it was. A lot of people in Duke land this weekend are saying that they were going to absolutely lay the wood in North Carolina based off the game that they went through earlier in the season on the late basket by North Carolina. They do have them at home. What is the line on Duke and North Carolina? And listen, it is so even. I mean, you can go back. It's amazing about this rivalries. You can go back and you can make it as even as you want. You want to go back 134 games, it's going to be 67-67. You want to go back 198 games, it's going to be 98-9. And so you can figure out a way to make this, and it's almost down to the points. It's so doggone even. You know it's going to be a great game. You know if you're a college basketball fan or even not, you have to watch part of the North Carolina-Duke game. What is the line of that game, and does Duke take it out on North Carolina on Saturday, Case?
I see it 15.5 and 16.5.
Yowza, wow.
Up 2 places. And honestly, my first reaction would still probably be lay it. I wasn't watching the game. Maybe I should go back and watch it, but I was just shocked to see Duke lost the first one, whatever it was. I guess that was like a month ago now, wasn't it? I don't know. I feel like I was watching. I just remember looking at the score and Duke was ahead. Wasn't Duke ahead the entire time? North Carolina led for like 1 second. I don't know. To me, these two teams are on different tiers, and I know when you see that high of a number, it'll scare people away, and no one's rushing to lay nearly 20 points in college basketball's best rivalry. But man, I don't know. Duke's clicking on all cylinders now, and North Carolina, to me, I don't know. Going on the road, I wouldn't even be surprised if this closed a little tiny bit higher. It's pretty high already, but yeah, it'd be Duke or pass for me.
The one thing that I think is really interesting, and this goes for college football games too, whenever you see a line that big, and you're thinking, well, it's a rivalry game, right? You throw the records out the window. No, you don't. In this particular case, I love laying the 15.5 as well, but it comes down to defense. I mean, if you've got a team with a defense that historically could be great, like Duke has right now, and we know they can make the three, the 15 doesn't look like much because you're talking about maybe they've given up an average of 62 points a ball game. That's putting Duke at 77 at home. I think that's a possibility. You see those big lines, and it may be 65-45 or 65-50, and there you go. You're covering your 15.5. Kai, what's your thoughts? You like the wood tomorrow?
I'm a little concerned if I'm North Carolina because they have been pushing that Wilson was going to be back for this game, and he's a huge part of their team. Played in that game, did well in the first game. Him not being back for this game, I think, kind of gives North Carolina a built-in excuse going in, and I just wonder if they go in and they get down early, relatively decent size, what's going to happen in the second half. I don't know that they're going to have the fight that they would have had if Wilson was playing. I think that's a huge key. I would be interested to see. Case, did you see a total up for that game yet?
Let's see. I just have spreads. Total 144.5.
Yeah,
that means you got to figure that North Carolina is probably going to be 80, 81 in that situation, thinking that they're going to. I'm sorry, Duke would be 80 or 81 in that situation. So. I really think with their defensive effort and the way they're going to get up and down the floor, if it's anything below 80, I would have to hammer Duke on the team total with that. And looking, if you're 80 and 64, 65 with North Carolina, if Duke is playing that well, North Carolina missing one of their best players, huge rivalry game. I don't know. Maybe the best way is to go is North Carolina under that 65 on the team total.
By the way, that Alabama-Georgia game we mentioned that on the show on Tuesday. The over/under was 180. It went over. What is that? What is that over/under? I'm just curious. The Auburn-Alabama game tomorrow. Is there a line on that over/under on that particular? I just love it because it's going to be in the 170s or 180s. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I see 176.5 right now.
Okay.
I don't know if Auburn can score to get it to that unless Hall goes out and puts up 40. Which I don't think he's going to do on the road. But so if it's 170 something, I mean, Alabama's team total's got to be 91.
Yeah. Let's go ripping through some of the games tomorrow. Not a lot like on there will be games we'll be playing tonight, obviously, but as far as some things that go, wow, that looks like a great ball game. I want to throw out a couple. We're certainly going to go heavy SEC here as we get ready for SEC time. Arkansas, Missouri, sneaky good game. A pair of 20-win teams. Arkansas giving up 2.5 at home against Missouri. Kai, what you like?
No, it's at Missouri, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But Arkansas is giving up. But Arkansas is the favorite.
Yeah, Missouri's a different team at home, and looking at that, that's difficult. Missouri wins that game, they jump up into a top 4 and get a double bye. It's huge for them, and even if Arkansas loses, they're not going to drop below a 4. So then, who does it mean the most to? But at the same time, Arkansas, if they win the game, even though Alabama has the a tiebreaker against them, Arkansas doesn't have to play Florida till the finals. And then you start to look as a coach, what is the best thing to happen here as well. And then the other part of it is, I went all the way around myself to get to this point. I'm not playing the game because I cannot bet against Darius Acuff. I hate John Calipari, but I think Darius Acuff is an incredible basketball player. I mean, the only reason why Arkansas has been in a lot of their games, won a lot of their games, or was even close to Alabama in that game, playing with 7 scholarship players is because of him, putting up damn near 50 points.
Case, you like the 2.5?
Yeah, I would lean that way if it's less than 3. I think Arkansas's. I don't know. I've been skeptical of Missouri all year, and yeah, they've. I mean, they've been better than I thought. I got to give them a little bit of flowers, but yeah, I mean, A Cup's the kind of on a different level. And I think everyone else on the floor. I have a sneaking suspicion this will probably close over 3. So if you can get under 3 now, I think that's probably a good bet.
Another sneaky good game in your neck of the woods there, Kai. Tennessee hosting the Vanderbilt Commodores. Both teams, again, at 20 plus wins on the season. Who do you like between your Tennessee Volunteers? Do not have a line on this game, but if you've got one, throw it out there.
Tennessee won at Vandy, but very different game. Nate Ament played very well, and Ament's not going to play in this game, and I think that's big as far as the technically speaking guard play, because technically he's shooting guard / small forward, whatever, play in the 3. Now he's not, so Tennessee's probably going to start three big guys going in there. This game really worries you as a Tennessee fan. They have not been playing great. They lost to Alabama at home. Vanderbilt is 10-7 in the SEC. If they win this game, they looking at moving up because there could be literally a 16 tie at 11-7, and then Missouri would have the advantage over Tennessee, Vandy, Texas A&M, all those with that. So I haven't seen the line. I would imagine Tennessee's probably 1.5 or 2.5 if I had to guess. But without Ament, I can also see this being a pick'em.
What's your thoughts, Case?
Well, like I said, I haven't been really plugged in. So by Kai's reports, I should be driving across the border to get a bet on Vanderbilt. I'm seeing 4.5 Tennessee right now, -4.5. My immediate reaction would probably be a slight lean to Vanderbilt as well. I've been stubborn when it comes to this team. I still think they're really dangerous. I know they've kind of slid back here in the second half of the SEC, and not everyone's fully bought in on them, but I really like their offensive scheme with Byington. I know they have some injuries too, so maybe they're just not ever going to get to the level they were at the start of the year. But I don't know. They're a team I could still see making a run. They're a team I've targeted throughout the year. So not that I feel super strongly, but also hearing Kai talk about Ament being hurt, I would probably lean Vanderbilt right now.
Here we go. The best team in the SEC, Florida, going on the road. They're 14-1 on the road this year. The Florida Gators are, and they're giving up 7.5 to the Kentucky Blue. Case, can Kentucky get a big victory again? This is a Kentucky squad. I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, Kentucky's so weird. I will say some of these Florida numbers on the road have been quite hulking. I do think when I was gone, I know I think they ended up covering at Texas, but they were kind of in a battle with them for a while. That was a close game. I think right before I left, when I was still betting, I took some ridiculous number. I'm trying to remember. I think at Ole Miss, I had Ole Miss almost like +20, as bad as Ole Miss is. I'm not laying 20 on the road. So I don't like trusting Kentucky. Obviously, another team that's beat up, missing some pieces, but. I don't know. My initial reaction would be to take the big points at home. It's just it's hard to. I don't know. I'm not really targeting laying big numbers with Florida on the road right now, even though I do think they're the class of the SEC. They'll probably win the SEC tournament. They'll probably win this game. But yeah, at that number right away, I'd probably lean Kentucky.
By the way, the last 5 seasons in college basketball, the away team in true road games has won 32.9% of the time, which is pretty amazing, regardless of who's playing what. They've won less than a third of the games. That's how difficult it is to win on the road. And you better believe in Big Blue Land, man, it's going to be rocking with the Florida Gators coming in, Kai.
Lay it or don't play it. Kentucky with a win probably gets a 6 seed. A loss drops them to a 10 seed. So they're looking at winning and getting, one bye, losing and not getting any kind of bye. But that'd be good for the SEC tournament because Big Blue Nation would get there earlier, in the week and spend more money there. I just can't bet against Florida. And I'm not ever going to bet on Kentucky. Now, part of that is because I hate them, but I hate Florida also. I just think they're much better team. I understand not wanting to lay 7.5. But that's why you go with somebody like K4 because of the fact that instead of just having to play all the big games, we're going to try to put you in the best situation with the best odds, and maybe we don't think this is the game with the best odds.
Couple other interesting games. Again, we got Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Mississippi State, some games that are as good as the SEC games were last week. Not particularly appetizing outside the Iron Bowl game, but a couple of the games that kind of were interesting. Va Tech, who, by the way, is 14-3 on the road this year. They're playing unbelievable at Virginia, who's lost 4 games all year long. Virginia giving up 9.5. That defense is starting to play well again, too, Case.
Yeah, I like Virginia's team a lot better, but I kind of have PTSD for this game. I'm trying to look at a couple months ago now. I was on, I don't know, I had some terrible number. I had someone here opened a rogue number on Virginia at Virginia Tech. I think I might have had like Virginia -1.5 or 2 or something. They closed like a 6-point favorite, and Virginia Tech, I think controlled the whole game. I never even had a chance to cover, and it was a pretty big bet too. So I don't know. Going based off my handicap of that game, remembering the first time they played this year, I thought Virginia had a clear edge, and I'd be more wanting to lay it. But yeah, Virginia Tech has been pesky this year, even when they've been playing without guys. I don't know how they're doing it. I think looking at their statistical profile and stuff, they're not a team I would rush in to bet on. But I see they're 18-12 against the spread. Virginia just 15-15. That just goes along with my own immediate kind of characterizations of this team is that Virginia's frustrating and Virginia Tech's overachieving. Usually you just got to be stubborn sometimes and stick with it. So I'll take Virginia here, but I'm not smiling doing so.
What you think, Kai?
What's the total? Probably in the 130s.
I have not seen a total on it as of yet.
Yeah, we've got 141.5.
Wow.
I would take under if it's 141.5, but Virginia at home, the way their defense is capable of playing, like he's talking about Virginia Tech being pesky, a good rebounding war here. If Virginia's hitting their threes, I can see where they would cover. Virginia Tech's going to have to probably get Virginia in foul trouble at home for Virginia, so on the road for Virginia Tech to get that done. I would probably love it if I got +10, and I probably with Virginia Tech, and I probably wouldn't play it at 9.5. I would be looking more towards an under or a Virginia Tech team total under.
And again, I'm just looking at games. Maybe it's because it's football. Indiana, Ohio State. Indiana obviously is sitting there right there on the bubble as well. Ohio State right now in, but barely at 19-11. Any thoughts on that Big Ten scruffle? Any of you guys, or is there anything else that is jumping out at you guys that you really, really want to look at tomorrow?
I don't see any number on that game. I don't. Both of these teams or Ohio State, especially, man. It seems like they've had guys hurt left and right. I wonder if there's some injury thing in this game because seeing so many of these big conference games already posted at DraftKings, it's kind of weird. It's not up. I'm kind of surprised to hear you say Ohio State is in. I don't think this team is that good. That being said, would I want to jump on Indiana on the road? Probably not. So I don't know. That game doesn't do a lot for me. Interesting why it's off. I would look for injury stuff there before you get involved. I don't know. No other game super jumping out to me. Maybe Kai can say if there's one obvious one we've been missing. I mean, Texas Tech and BYU should be pretty decent, but I know Texas Tech a little bit weakened by injuries.
Wisconsin, Purdue maybe is kind of an interesting game.
Yeah,
hey, here's a big one that we haven't talked about, and it's the alma mater. With a fired coach from K-State heading into Kansas.
That is not a big. That is not a big game. That is not
a
big game.
for at least one person on here.
Yeah.
Kansas State's such a mess. I know Kansas is a little bit stumbling now after that terrible performance at Arizona State where they never play well. But man, Kansas State, what a bad look the program is right now, and Tang and them going back at each other. I really didn't think Tang was going to work out. It just goes to show, like, you got to wait sometimes before making these sweeping proclamations, and how much more. And I fall into it too. I think we all do, talking about the coaches and how big that plays into the handicap it has to. But after that first year that Tang was there, I was like, man, I was completely wrong. This guy's a great coach. I hate that Kansas State has this coach that seems like he's rallying the program he's into. But I really think that he just struck gold with two of the transfers of that team that got to the Elite Eight with Marquise Noel. I'm sure you guys remember, like, NCAA tournament hero, and Keontae Johnson, the Florida kid who had the heart thing. I mean, he hit on those two guys and they had an amazing year. But now it's a story that we see time and time again. Now it's just so the transfer portal. If you don't hit, I think he was a pretty poor coach. I kind of wish he would have stuck around. But I think Kansas will probably pour it on them one more time at Allen Fieldhouse, last game of the year. It would be Kansas or pass. Don't take the big number with Kansas State, no matter how big it is. I just think it's so dysfunctional, such a mess there right now.
Well, I threw that out to go back to this because you got Kansas coming off a bad loss at Arizona State, but now you've got Arizona State coming off that huge win where, they're even talking about Bobby Hurley's probably his last game at home and all that. So now they're on the road at Iowa State. Not sure what the line is. I would think it's probably somewhere between, 12 and 15. But now I brought that up just to say, so Arizona State off of that huge win. Now what happens when they go to Iowa State this weekend?
Yeah, Iowa State 13.5, it looks like. And I don't know. Again, I feel like I'm leaning towards a lot of these huge favorites. Maybe that's stupid of me, but I got to think if Arizona State doesn't knock off Kansas, what's the line on this game? To me, just off the top of my head right away, I was thinking it'd be more in like the 15 or 16 range. So yet another one where I'm not really tempted by the huge dog in this case. Although Arizona State is playing better, they've shown some signs of life even before the Kansas win, but. Man, I haven't been high on this team all year, and Iowa State's kind of got its mojo back a little bit. So, first reaction would be Iowa State or pass on that one.
Anything else grabbing you guys in college hoops? Then we'll run around the world of sports before we give you all the information about K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. You got anything else?
I'm going to have a question once we're done with college basketball for you guys that I would love to hear off some breaking news.
Throw it out there. Go.
What are our thoughts on Geno Smith being released by the Raiders? That announcement came out just kind of like right as we were going on that he's being released.
It was completely obvious. I don't think I actually even wrote about it, but I couldn't believe I was hearing people. I was hearing people say, "Oh, maybe they keep him. It's gonna, save the dead cap hit." They're giving every indication that they don't want to start Mendoza right away. Brady, I guess, is a big guy to have someone sit for a while. So I was hearing all this talk in the last few weeks about maybe they keep him. There was zero chance they were keeping him. Unfortunately, I don't think I ever got. Maybe I probably wrote it somewhere, but if you listen to what I said in any spot, it was clear that the organization was done with Geno Smith. So not a surprise. I do think someone might be surprised that he might get another chance somewhere. I think that, these teams that, are really quarterback, have no one to turn to. I think they could talk themselves into Geno Smith over some other guys, just saying, the Raiders were such a dysfunctional disaster. He had been good the 3 years before that or whatever. I would not be shocked if he gets another chance, but I think I'm more down on Geno Smith than even most. I think the Raiders' offensive line was terrible. There's no doubt, but I think they're taking even a little bit too much of a brunt of the blame. I mean, there were worse offensive lines that had quarterbacks that were decent. I think Geno Smith is done. But
could have had something to do with his coaching too. There's
a lot of reasons for people in the NFL will talk themselves into him. He'd been so good. The Raiders, and not only the offensive line, the coaching. You saw the NFL player report cards came out. There's only one F in any category for any team, and it was offensive coordinator for the Raiders. It's just how dysfunctional it was with.
What's so crazy about Geno is just over the last 2 or 3 seasons, I've never seen a guy with a ceiling as high as his and a basement as low as his. On any given day, you could say he's the worst football player in the league. And on the best days with Seattle, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, it's even on any given play, especially with Seattle. The Raiders, he didn't have much fun, but like Seattle, he'd make he'd make an incredible throw one play and just do something extremely dumb the next one. So yeah, he's a maddening guy to watch, and good luck to whatever fan base does give him a chance. Maybe he just gets signed as a backup, but I kind of have a sneaking suspicion. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a week 1 starter for one of these bad teams. We'll see.
They're releasing him will open up $8 million in salary cap space and taking about an $18.5 million dead money hit. And he signed a 2-year, $75 million extension after being traded from Seattle on that 2025 third-round pick. So,
yeah, I've still been a little bit of a Tom Brady apologist with the Raiders. I think we need a little more time. I don't think what went wrong last year is really his fault, but he made just a giant mistake when by all reports, Sam Darnold was not his guy. He didn't like Sam Darnold, even though he fit way better with the Raiders timeline. Seattle signs Sam Darnold for less money, and he wins the Super Bowl. They do a sign and trade, give up a 3rd-round pick, pay Geno Smith more. That's just another chapter in the Raiders' comedy of errors the last 20 years.
Did want to mention this too, and we'll take it out on this. We lost Lou Holtz this week, at the age of 89 years old, of course, and it's amazing because a couple things that really stuck out to me that he was at Notre Dame only 11 years. It seemed like he was at Notre Dame for like 30-something years, but we know he wasn't. He did win a natty back in 1988. Probably one of his best coaching years was when he came to South Carolina. In 1999, they were 0-11. They came back and went 8-4 in the year of 2000. So, but an amazing coach. And any thoughts on it? I know a lot of people didn't like Lou. Obviously, Skip Holtz, his son, has been a coach here, the Birmingham Stallions, for 4 or 5 seasons, won back-to-back championships of the USFL. And of course, he decided to leave, which was kind of strange. And then A.J. McCarron came in and took over the head coaching position, which I still like seeing him on the sidelines with a professional team is just really bizarre to me. I don't know if he's going to be a great coach or not, but I really like Skip, and I thought he was fantastic. I got a chance to interview him, meet him several times. He was great. But his dad was something really, really special. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to wish that before we leave, Tony, I want to, because we haven't done anything, you've got to give us a Tony Curry useless fact, even if you have to scramble to find one, because none of us have given one out in the show. And, that's one of the things we promised.
I'll give you one right now. Luke Holtz is the only coach in college football history to take not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 different teams to a bowl game. How about that?
I got to go against you and say that's not a useless fact. I think it's an incredible stat. Yep. I understand the useless
fact. Well, it's
fact.
useless as Lou Holtz. And some
incredible
people would say
stat. And yeah, I mean, I loved Lou Holtz at Notre Dame and loved the fight, and especially being the itty-bitty short. Looked like, I mean, he was sick all the time kind of guy because he was so small, feisty. I wish he'd have retired at Notre Dame and been done and not gone to South Carolina or done anything to tarnish his legend, if you will, maybe because of some of the bad times there. But I agree. I mean, incredible coach. And from what I understand, I don't know, but from what I understand, even a better person.
Yeah. And I'd agree with that. I just love the fact that he calls Auburn the University of Auburn. I know that just pisses them off to no end. He does it on purpose just to get on their nerves. No, he was just great, whether you liked him or not. Really, when you're talking about a halftime speech, I don't know if anyone ever did it. And I got a chance to actually be in the locker room for one of those Notre Dame halftime speeches. And you know what you're going to hear. And he's going to be doing that's why we have eyes in the front of our head, not in the back of the head, because we don't look forward, we look back. We did it. And he's like, and you just feel mesmerized. Like his communication skills were so good. And he could just pull it out whenever he wanted. He was just absolutely amazing. So he will certainly be losed, but great life at 89. Finally, speaking of 89, I turn 60 tomorrow. I just want to wish myself a happy birthday. I know the big 6-0. So I'm going to sit my big ass in front of the TV and watch hoops all day tomorrow. I'm going to make my kids rub my feet and feed me grapes with a palm leaf for tomorrow. And I hope you all have a great weekend.
Hey, go make some money on the Knicks tonight over the Nuggets, Tony.
Knicks over the Nuggets. Then what's the line?
No, I have to take the Knicks money line.
Okay.
Kind of liking that. You got World Baseball Classic. We didn't talk about that. Shohei Ohtani with the grand slam last night for Japan. Some great games there. And don't forget, we will have some men's college baseball bets this weekend as well.
Good stuff. K4Wins.com. K4Wins.com. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great weekend. Good to have you back, Case.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. See you guys.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.